Hi again then guys, and welcome to of course another speed build for Gran Turismo Sport in particular, again with Route X in particular in mind. You could use it somewhere else at Le Mans or Fuji, but I wouldn't really recommend it. This is purely for Special Stage Route X in particular. Very popular choice of car, the GT-R Nismo. Now as far as top speed, you'll have seen from the title that it's not quite as fast as a couple of other cars that you'll see out there. Sometimes you'll see like 282 miles per hour, 280. This does 278. The reason why is, well, there are a number of reasons, but for one thing, I've already said that my tunes are not claiming to be the fastest in the world, and they're not designed to be either. However, what you sacrifice in top speed, my tunes gain in stability and handling through the curve. So most of those cars that you'll see doing over 280 tend to have a slammed down back end, a raised up front end, and you have to stay pretty high through the corner to maintain stability, and the slightest tap you'll spin out immediately. With this one you can maintain over 260 at the bottom of the corner, and that kind of stability, that kind of handling really comes in handy when you're weaving through 15 or so other cars in an online lobby. And for the sake of sacrificing 2 or 3 miles per hour, who really cares? Now as far as the upgrades, I'd recommend having the highest power and the lowest weight. Traction control we've got turned off. As far as the tyres, we've got super softs. I know some people like to mix it up, hards on the front, softs on the back. That's down to you. As far as the brake balance, we haven't touched that. For the suspension, I've got the ride height on 100, so you've got a little bit of clearance, and that is very important for my particular style of handling tune. The frequency you want as high as possible, anti-roll as low as possible, with the compression and rebound on the dampers also as low as they can go. You don't need any camber really. If you want it to be even more stable, you could give it 1 degree on the front and the back, but it's not entirely necessary for this one. Neutral toe, you cannot adjust the rear downforce of course. As far as the diff, I'd recommend the lowest initial torque, then the highest settings for both the acceleration and the braking, and finally for the transmission, which is of course the way to really unlock the full potential of that power, you want the fully customized gearbox, obviously. Then for the auto setting, I'd recommend 249 miles per hour. Then for the individual gears, 2685, 1610, 1150, 900, 740, 600, and a final drive of 3.2. Now, if you find that you want more slipstream potential, for it to go even higher when you're bump drafting each other around the track, then drop that final drive maybe to 3.1 or even 3. But of course you will sacrifice some acceleration when you're driving on your own, so you need to bear that in mind. As long as you know that you're going to be with the pack the whole time, that'll be okay. But if you want the car to just be fast on its own, I'd recommend keeping it at 3.2. So that's it for the tune. Of course there's a ton of room for variation, but now what you want to see is what it can do in action. Now, as far as the GT-R's performance goes, it's always one of the quickest street cars in the game, if not the quickest. Some people would argue back in GT6 you could get like 312 miles per hour out of it without slipstream or without nitrous. It's not that quick now, of course, but my tunes even back then were not that fast. Mine would do more like 307, but get around the corner with much more stability. Once again, that's exactly what's happened here. This is not quite as quick as some others. But I've used it in races, I've won in races with it, and more often than not the reason why this tune can beat others who are on paper faster is because of that handling. It's not a track where you'd think handling would be that important, but trust me, it really is. Especially when you're manoeuvring around cars with noob drivers, people who don't know what they're doing, people who've never driven on the track before. Handling really comes in handy. So overall, if you decide to use this tune, I hope you have a ton of fun with it, and you can definitely win races with it as I have myself. So of course, if you want to check out all of my other speed tunes and loads more, which I'm going to be putting out on the channel as well, then of course hit sub down below or hit the playlist here on screen. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.